My name is Alex Alpharaoh, and I'm nominated for Best Original Playwright for Wet, A Documented Journey. So I grew up all over Los Angeles. I'm an Angelino. I spent half of my childhood in Echo Park and the second half of my childhood in South Central Los Angeles, so I identify with both neighborhoods. Um, was there support of the arts? Definitely not. Except if you count when I was in the third grade, I had a third grade teacher who taught us poetry. And that was about the extent of the arts that I was exposed to at a very early age. Did I have support from my family? No. And I didn't start receiving support from my family until they started seeing that this was more than just a hobby, that this was actually a profession that I was actively working towards to, yeah, or for. Yeah, no, I mean, there's several individuals. The first person that comes to mind is my acting mentor, Mark Majarian. He was responsible for, me becoming an actor when I was in college. Seth Rosenfeld, the playwright, Stephen Atlee Gerges, they've been very influential in my writing. They've been very influential in the way that I choose to tell stories, and they really did teach me directly and indirectly on how to just honor my voice and to accept and appreciate that I do have a voice that is valid and that deserves to be heard. Oh, I'm from the hood, so like, don't get it twisted. I wear suits now because I'm a grown up, but I grew up in LA during the '90s where it was gangbang culture and the cholos, and orale homes, and that kind of Chicano mentality, which I don't associate with because I don't relate to. I'm not a Chicano. I'm from Guatemala, which is south of Mexico. We're not all Mexican. And it was tough because there was no exposure to theater. I grew up in a part of Echo Park where they were constantly filming. They did a lot of filming. I remember being a kid and meeting a bunch of stars, and that's kind of what bit me. That was the bug that bit me when I was a kid and wanting to be an actor because I got paid to play. And I got to travel and I got to meet other cool people and basically spend my entire day playing, which is all that kids want to do when they're, when they're that young, when they're 9, 10 years old. And so growing up in Los Angeles, growing up in the inner city in a rough neighborhood, in a primarily, first generation immigrant family and community where everyone was working. Even the kids were working sometimes because they had to help bring in money for the family. There wasn't any real emphasis in the arts because the arts was something that was reserved for the privileged, and I wasn't privileged. And I wasn't allowed to have the arts as an outlet because I had to focus on, getting good grades because my parents immigrated from Guatemala when I was, a baby. And their whole emphasis was for me to become a doctor, a lawyer, a cop, or a firefighter, or something that was respectable. And so when I chose to go into the arts, it was something that was ridiculed. It was laughed at. It was not taken seriously. It was considered a hobby. They would say, "Oh, there's Alex. Hey, so are you still doing the little acting thing? Do you still carry a little journal around with you and write down your little acting notes? He wants to be an actor, So all these years later, fuck you, tia, because you didn't believe in my dream, and here I am. So yeah, LA, it's a beautiful place to grow up.